Today, I'm interviewing Andrea. She joined us for our Speak Out Loud event in March, and we got to meet her and what she's passionate about. But today, I'm more curious about her story and the person behind what she's doing. So I look forward to learning more about her upbringing here in Australia and how did she choose her career and the field in which she works, as well as the differences that she perceives between men and women in her field, and how diversity has enriched her perspectives, if she had any opportunities to travel abroad, and what has she experienced as cultural diversity or differences between other cultures and the Australian culture. So I look forward to hearing from her, and this interview is a part of a series that we are doing to women who have dared to speak up.
Hello, Solange.
Hi, welcome. How are you?
Very well.
Welcome to this space. I'm very excited to have you here. You are the first Australian-born person I interview, so
Thank
I'm
you.
honored to have you in this space of daring women who have found their own voice. And we have heard you speaking at the Speak Out Loud event and sharing your passion and your purpose. So I'm curious about your upbringing and how did you get to choose your path in your career?
Thank you. I loved speaking at your event too, by the way, so thank you for having me here. So my upbringing was pretty traditional. It was like 1950s household. Mum stayed at home and raised us while dad went to work. It actually didn't really so much lead into the career on where I am now, I guess, because I would have never thought I'd work in IT or with security. It was never on my radar. I fell into it by design of where I was at a stage of life. So I guess like where I found that it's aligned with what I want is it speaks to, like with security, it's very heavily involved with frameworks, and I like the structure that comes with that. So I think that's why I'm really into it.
And did you feel any social pressure in regards to your choice of career when you chose what you were going to do?
Um, no, I don't. I guess for me, I used to care when I was younger, and then as I evolved as an adult and as a parent throughout my own career, I had different experiences then, which led me to just become comfortable in my own skin, and for want of a better term, do things that served me more, basically. So that's why I started my own business. It then meets my needs, which are beyond just what's related to work. It meets my time needs and being able to have that decompression time for me.
And what was your experience in transitioning from a part-time or full-time job to having your own business? How did you
Oh my
live
goodness.
the uncertainty? Yeah.
Well, it was actually through a series of unfortunate events, which I had I'd started a new job at the time doing a role that I thought I wanted as chief security officer. I was not long into the role, like 2 months in. I went on a skiing vacation or snowboarding and broke my arm quite severely and took a bit of time off. And during that time, because I was still in probationary period, I lost my job. So that was pretty traumatic, pretty unexpected, and obviously you have bills to pay. It just so happened that I'm not sure if someone had got wind of it, but I had people call me up and say, can you do this work for us with regards to security? And so I gave proposals and they said yes. And I went, okay, well, I guess I better create a proprietary limited for the liability purposes. And so that was the evolution of how it actually came to be. From there, the actual effort of setting up a business is enormous, but I've found it to be one of the most satisfying and joy inspiring experiences of my life. Like, I've not ever worked as hard as what I have now for as long as what I have, 7 days a week, really long hours, but it's for me and my children. So the output is worth it. Like, the time investment is worth it.
And it's amazing how things happen. Sometimes we feel that they are not good things, but in the end, they turned out to be good. So I'm glad for you.
Look, absolutely. And that's why when I started my business, I chose the icon of a phoenix rising from the ashes. Like that could have been a very devastating point in my life. And it was upsetting, or like without a doubt. But I wasn't going to lay down and do nothing. I thought this is a really crucial turning point. Like this is a crossroads where I can decide to either find another job where I'm on a salary, or I can really lean into my own business, and which I chose the latter, and I'm really pleased that I've gone that way.
And you did. And that's the very nature of what I call daring women who dare
Mm.
to go into the uncertain and out of their comfort zones to
Yeah, definitely.
pursue their dreams and their passions. First, congratulations for doing it. And I know it's not easy. And
Mm.
you mentioned briefly that you traveled, and I wanted to ask if you've been overseas and if you experienced other cultures, and what have you learned about your own culture around the differences that you found?
Definitely, yeah. So because I had children when I was quite young, I was in my very early 20s, I didn't actually travel overseas until it was my 30th birthday, and I went to Thailand. And one of my friends had said when I was much younger, travel makes you wiser, but it's not until you've actually done the thing that you understand the statement. So, what stood out to me most when I went to Thailand was how welcoming and kind and authentic most people were, but also the sheer poverty that some people lived in, being literally just a piece of corrugated metal, and that was their home. And yet they were still happy, right? And so what it did highlight to me was that I was really fortunate. I have a really fortunate life. Even my worst day is probably still better than their best day in terms of what I have around me. So it made me feel like I really don't need as much in my life. I can want things, I can enjoy things. If I spend my money on them, I get a momentary dopamine hit. But at the end of the day, pure happiness wasn't coming from those things. It's come from where I'm at now. Yeah, so that's what I learned most. And particularly when I went to your Speak Out Loud session, and most women there were international, and yet the foundational parts of communication were ubiquitous. They're universal. Everybody has this same need to feel connected and wanted, and the same fears, and so I thought, like, for me, it was such a connecting experience, and I really enjoyed that. So thank you.
Thank you for sharing that. And now that you mentioned the event, I also would like to ask, how did you feel? Because I know you were a bit anxious before
Mm.
getting ready for it. And how did you feel in that environment? If it was supportive for you to feel more at ease?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I had a really, really great time. That particular afternoon, just before the event, I'd messaged my friend who was also there and said, "Oh, like it's been such a long week. I'm so tired. I'm really nervous. Like I would much rather be at home tonight on the couch with my feet up in front of the TV." But she's like, "I know, same." But I'm like, "No, we're going anyway. We're going to do it." And so we turned up, and the way in which you facilitated the event and led us through some exercises which slowly broke down those barriers of feeling uncomfortable, feeling disconnected, particularly like some of the physical exercises, like having to exercise my tongue, for example. Um, that was really good, and it made me feel less anxious about getting up and giving that presentation, but also as part of that process, then my thought process on what I wanted to present on changed, because I just thought, oh my God, I was so inspired to talk about something different instead. So yeah, no, I think it was an absolutely fantastic session. I really appreciated the feedback, but also I think it was what I experienced in terms of that connection and, ubiquitous approach. Doesn't matter where you're from, to communication. And that's what I really got so much out of. And, similarly to when you travel, it's about how do you connect and communicate with people? You don't need to speak the same language because people still have the same emotions.
Definitely. Definitely. Emotions and stories bring us together.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And
Mhm.
that's what I loved about it. Everybody felt that we're here for the same reason. We want to share our stories. And yeah, like there was a young lady on the end of my table she'd come out to Australia because she felt so deeply depressed in her home country, and that she needed that sense of reconnection with the world around her. And that was her journey, which I was like, that resonates. I love that for you. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. And I'm glad that you had the opportunity to interact with other women from
Yes.
different countries. And if you had something to say or to tell them, because for them, English is their second language, so they have another layer of complexity when speaking in public,
Mm.
what would you tell them so they can just feel grounded, connected, and just realize that language is not the barrier, but it's the way that we have to connect with each other and communication goes beyond words?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say for a start, the fact that you're even attempting to learn, not just learn, but actually communicate effectively in a second language means you are doing something more than what most other people would ever do in their lifetime. And you should be proud of yourself. And that the intent of you trying usually comes across to a lot of people who are listening. So if you stumble, if you don't get a word right, don't feel embarrassed. We know that you're trying. It is okay. And I think, I'm not quite sure. What should I say? That it is an amazing opportunity for people to have two languages. If you're bilingual, it opens doors. And these women who are attempting to learn English, which is one of the most convoluted, difficult languages, especially when it's in Australia and we blend all our words together. Kudos to you. Well done. You're doing an amazing job.
Thank you. And I'm sure that people who are listening to this interview have felt goosebumps as I did, because for us, having someone who validates that it's okay to make mistakes and that we should feel safe and proud to do what we are doing
Mm,
is really encouraging. So thank you.
you're very welcome.
And
Thank you.
before we say goodbye, I would like to say also kudos to you because you did get out of your comfort zone by speaking in public. And I would like to ask if there's anything else that you haven't done yet, like that's still in your bucket list, and you're
Mhm.
willing to give it a go.
Well, yes, there is actually, now that you ask. Um, so I'm actually putting together an event for the end of this year. It's a training forum in Brisbane for 450 people for a particular type of industry. And I am taking this approach with just blind confidence. That's the approach. Blind confidence. I'm like, it won't fail. It can't fail. It might, but I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I think it's like going to be fantastic. And as part of that, I will have to do some speaking. And I feel that I'm better equipped with it now after doing that course and just incrementally now improving my confidence in that area. So thank you.
That sounds amazing. 450 people.
I
That's
know,
huge.
that's so many.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
But when you speak in front of them, just connect with one at a time and
Mhm.
create that intimacy that people will feel connected and attracted to your speech. And of course, if you need any support, I will be here.
You are amazing. Thank you so much, Solange.
Thank you. It's been lovely to meet you, and I hope we can get in touch again at some point this year to see how you're going. And I wish you all the best for your event.
Thank you so much, and likewise, have a sensational week. Thanks.
Talk soon.
Bye.